medieval peasants. We picture them bent over in fields from dawn to dusk, endless toil, barely surviving, a life of complete misery. Reality: they worked fewer obligatory hours per year than you do. Seasonal labor, dozens of feast days, task-oriented work that ended when the task was finished. Industrial capitalism didn't free people from peasant life. It taught them to watch the clock, and the clock never stops. Medieval work follows the rhythm of the season, not the clock. Spring arrives and the fields need plowing, planting. It's intense work, but it's short. A few weeks of hard labor, then it's done. Summer, weeding, tending, maintaining what's been planted. The pace slows. Moderate work spread across long, warm days. Then autumn, harvest time. Everyone works. Sunrise to sunset. Backs bent, hands bleeding, exhausting. But it ends. The harvest comes in, or it doesn't. Either way, the season's over. Winter arrives, and field work nearly stops. There's tool repair, animal care, indoor tasks. But the long nights mean early darkness. When the sun sets at 4 in the afternoon, you stop. When the task is done, you stop. No one is timing you. Modern estimates place obligatory agricultural labor, the work owed to lords or done for wages, around 1,400 to 1,600 hours per year for adult male peasants in 13th and 14th century England. Modern full-time workers, 1,800 to 2,000 hours, some significantly more. That's just the field work they were required to do, not total labor. Household tasks, animal care, repairs continue year-round, mostly done by women. We're not counting that. But the paid obligatory work, the kind someone else controls, less than yours. Then there are the holy days. Every major saint gets one. Regional festivals. Easter week stretches into multiple days of rest. Christmas season. Harvest celebrations when the work is finally done. In medieval England, Sundays, plus somewhere between 40 and 90 holy days and feast days, depending on where you live and how strictly the calendar is enforced. Labor is prohibited or strongly discouraged on these days. Not always full rest. Animals still need feeding, fires need tending. But field labor stops. This isn't because medieval society is kind. After the Black Death in 1348, labor shortages drive wages up sharply. Peasants can suddenly afford to work less. They work what they need to survive, then they stop. High wages mean the freedom to rest. The church provides the calendar. Economics provides the opportunity. And work follows daylight. No artificial lighting for most people. When the sun sets, you stop working. Summer days are longer, so you work longer. Winter days are short, so you work less. The rhythm changes with the season. Task-oriented time. Thresh the grain, milk the cows, mend the fence. When it's done, it's done. No productivity metrics, no output comparisons with yesterday's performance, no annual reviews measuring your efficiency gains. You work, then you're finished. Then you rest. Then, industrialization arrives. Factories require coordination. You can't have workers showing up when they feel like it. You can't have them leaving when the task is done. The factory runs on schedules. The factory runs on the clock. 1700s England. Factory bells ring. Shift starts. Everyone enters at the same time. Shift ends. Everyone leaves at the same time. Lunch breaks are timed. Output is measured. Schedules are enforced. Workers resist this. They're used to task-based time, used to feast days, used to stopping when the work is finished and going home. Factory owners don't care. They reduce feast days. Too much idleness, they say. They fine workers for arriving late, punish them for leaving early. They create rules that didn't exist before. And they install clocks in factories. Large clocks, visible from everywhere, impossible to ignore. The clock becomes the authority, not the season, not the task, not your own judgment of when the work is done. The clock. By the mid-1800s, many saints' days have been eliminated. Rest collapses toward Sundays only. 12-hour shifts become normal, 14-hour shifts in some industries, 6 days a week. Children work in factories, women work in mills. Everyone watches the clock. Everyone obeys the clock. Task time disappears. Clock time is mandatory. Today, a 40-hour work week is considered humane, a victory of labor organizing. And it is. But medieval obligatory field labor was roughly 1,400 to 1,600 hours per year. You commute. They didn't. You answer emails after hours. They didn't have hours. You work while sick because missing time costs money. They rested on holy days when wages allowed it. Not because their lives were easier overall. Disease, infant mortality, violence, famine, unpaid household labor continuing regardless of the season. But the measured obligatory work, the kind you clock in for, the kind that someone else controls and times and measures, they did less of that. Industrialization didn't liberate you from peasant labor. It taught you to accept more of it, taught you to measure your life in hours, taught you that the clock is always right. And we call it progress. Medieval peasants, adult males in 13th and 14th century England, worked fewer obligatory hours than you do, had more enforced rest days. Their total labor continued year-round. No romanticism here. But the work they were required to do, the work someone else controlled and measured, less than yours. Industrial capitalism didn't free people from the field. It brought the field's discipline into the factory, then the office, then the phone, then your head. Same species, same rebranding of control. Case closed.